Ready. I'm back, and I'm trying to collect myself. Gators just got upset. Top 10 team. Adrian's different. She could go either way. Alright, but you gotta turn things around by figuring out what the heck's going on with, like, the 28 layers of this. Alright. You can see she's in for a busy day. I am ballistics experts. I have finished. Okay, so we're still trying to pit people.
Remember, he said that basically something could kind of shrapnel off and hit you. And that's why the bullet wouldn't be in you.
Right. Okay.
What did she say?
As only 2 bullets were found, I would say the whole case is done and dusted.
So, was there one in...
There's one in the wall, and...
one in Mr. Windybay?
Right. I mean, we're probably going to have to press a lot of people. I'm just trying to figure out my plan of attack here. I'll go with her right now.
Hold it!
What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say, stop. Do excuse me, stop. I am a communications officer, stop. Communications officer, does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable under the sea, worldwide communication network. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe, stop. Ah, yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves or the like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's just finish the trial first, shall we? Okay. Honey heard something. I'll wait for her to come back.
Somebody got lost in the town closet.
Aww.
If you're crying.
Alright. Let's press her then about the 2 bullets.
Hold it!
It's the number of bullets that has you convinced? Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like to find. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose, if there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. A 3rd bullet somewhere in the scene, could that be possible? Well, we may be able to prove it, but can we? I don't think we can prove it right now.
Not unless it's in a knick-knack or something, or it's in the thing that shredded. Because you have, I believe that the one in the calendar is going to be Egbert. Because he had the disc, and they were fighting over the disc, and he gets cut on the disc, remember?
Yeah.
So if a bullet passed through him, that's his blood on the wall, but then the one that would have hit, and we know that he had a gun because he pulled one on us when we were originally talking about the disc. So if there's a bullet from somebody else that struck something and created shrapnel that hit the detective. But we'd have to find an object that has...
Yeah, and maybe we can come back to her, but I don't think... Fortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the good man of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. It sounds like a crime scene to me. A third bullet. It would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere? Okay. Let's see what he's got. So if I've understood correctly, you need two pictures, a left eye one and a slightly different right eye one. Exactly. Then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions, like this. So if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with them? I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the dock. How can you be so sure of that? Think about it. The Skulkin brothers shot the... Yes, it's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's coming into focus now, isn't it? This is a waste of time. I'm not going to change this man's mind anytime soon. Okay, so probably he's not one of the guys we're gonna... Let's press... We didn't press him after. Then I ask you to reconsider your leaning, sir. Oh no, that's another matter entirely. Sorry? All I can think about for the moment is this wonderful sense of relief that I have that the mystery is solved. I need some time to let that sink in before I could possibly consider anything else. Alright, I thought surgeons had to be able to think quickly. Perhaps we should leave him alone for now while he savors his inner peace, and focus on some of the other jurors. I suppose we'll have to. I wish I had the chance to experience inner peace sometimes. Once a rogue, always rogue. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens. Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Ah, well... Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her before. She's clearly a criminal sort through and through, can't deny it. When you say that she'd shown she had it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then order every type of music box he could find from across Europe. We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we? But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. The Gilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. Well, we did. Let's see. Let's press him again. I thought you were just a tourist. Good day, I'm visiting London for sightseeing. I'd like to take a bus to Crystal Tower. There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So you're a ballistics expert. I have much experience with guns. I think we've actually gone through this part. Extremely violent, yeah. What's with him and the mouse?
I don't know, I don't like him doing that.
Okay. Let's... Hurley always turns up at just the right moment. Does he always come in the form of a pouch? Seriously though, it sounds like the great detective was on death's door. Maybe his injuries won't be for nothing. That pouch could be a very valuable clue. We already looked at the pouch, didn't we?
I don't think so. Maybe there's a third bullet in it.
Yeah, we didn't really look at it, did we?
Broke one of the vials. That's probably what got him.
These glass vials are full of Hurley's homemade potions. Homemade? Yes, like fingerprint powder to show up where people have touched things, and scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object. That's amazing. They're all very easy to use. There's just one thing that you have to be careful of. They're all very flammable. Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he's passionate about finding out the truth or just oblivious to the dangers. Oh look, there's a hole here at the back. Doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something ripped through the leather with great force. Something must have pierced it somehow to have left this hole behind. Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see.
There it is.
What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah! That's the Skulkin Brothers bullet! What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night. We found exactly what the juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to press the juror again, I think. Yep. This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin Brothers' gun on the night of the incident. Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Hurley's body at all. So that 3rd bullet, we don't know really where it came from yet. Like the one in the calendar.
So I think Egbert shot Windibank, Skulkin Brothers shot Sholmes, but who shot Egbert?
We don't know. Dun dun dun. Thanks to the thick leather, it saved him. Hurley's always lucky like that. Well, considering what he had to go through in the hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was. Oh dear, poor Hurley. Oh, okay, it's the same thing. Okay. Let's press.
Hold it!
Let's go to the... We can prove it. Allow me to show you then the 3rd bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windibank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lost inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital, and since then, it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin Brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that is Mr. Windibank, and that belonging to the Skulkin Brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene, and until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. See, I like it when he does that. I don't like it when we do that. Order, order, order. While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter. What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Poor guy. Correct. He looks like he's part of it when this is. Governor, were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing if I can help it. Is it one of yours? Gor blimey, Gov. Gor blimey, not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone. It's just the two of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Lummy, that's an head-scratcher. Counsel for the defense? Yes. I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. It's nothing to do with them. I don't think they have a secret accomplice. I don't think there's clearly somebody else, since they think they're in danger. So it has to be, it's nothing to do with them.
I don't know if it's nothing to do with them or if they had a secret accomplice, because they were talking about earlier, we can't say anything. So are they working for somebody, or was somebody else there?
Thing is, accomplice, to me, would mean that it's somebody on their level. And they seem to be scared of somebody way bigger.
Okay.
Which is why I think it's nothing to do with them. Like, they're irrelevant to the grander scheme, or the grander story, is my guess. Let's see if that works. I believe it has nothing to do with them. Nash. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nothing to do with us, Gov. We've established that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 guns already known to the court. The logical conclusion, therefore, is that on the night in question in Mr. Windibake's pawnbrokery, there was another person present in possession of a third firearm. Whilst the brothers may have had nothing to do with the third gun or the bullet fired from it, it's inconceivable that they had nothing to do with a third man. Yes, the brothers were working with an accomplice who was carrying a gun. Well, it kind of just went to that anyway, didn't it? An accomplice, you say? Pig squill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Ag. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime, and secondly, the identity of the spurious character. The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? Well, counsel, I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity, even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is...
Ready to present the answers.
Are we?
Because you can present the calendar on the wall with the green blood on the disc, and Egbert.
That's true. Okay. Let us save, but yeah, that's true. We do have an unknown DNA. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands.
I don't like when his eyes are all sketchy.
Well, he's a little nervous. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, even he notices you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now, there's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
I think they used the blood portfolio.
Yeah, I think so.
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of these blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it? Ah.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a bloodstain, my lord. A bloodstain? Green blood? Curious, even for you. Is this court to understand the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective! New invention, stop. Not yet appeared in stories, stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes, everybody's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Ooh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting stuff. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank. Ah, striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No.
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed. By golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else, the third intruder, in fact. Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder? Eggert Benedict.
Take that!
The man's name is Eggert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbroker in the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say... He does the same thing!
The weird little gesture.
Yes! I didn't even remember he did that.
I remember him being weird.
Ah. But we had no reason to know that was some kind of Skulkin brother thing. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord, that's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder gubbinies. What? Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windibank that morning. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer before in me life. On me life, Gov, on me life, never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. What piece of evidence are we...
The disc with the blood on it, but you need the one where it's sprayed. I think it's in the portfolio, maybe.
Awesome. Yeah, okay. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord, the defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
That proof is right here in this portfolio. Good gracious, counsel, does that portfolio contain the answers to every question posed? I see you share my interest in claret-colored liquids, my Nipponese friend, but... Enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identify was the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime? Tch! That's easy.
Take that!
I wonder if it's because we were in that last when we went in. As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windibanks, which is when the aforementioned Eggert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. And of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. Arr, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Eggert Benedict, who was in Windibanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Eggert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence. This has gone on long enough, this flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Erlach Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes, a god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land? Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Ah, well. And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. See, right? It's Mr. Sholmes' concoction, But no, he's a great detective. We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. What other choice did I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. Ah, in other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief, what did you just say, young girl? And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say, or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. After that shrewd preaches of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks at you for your final leanings on this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn,
Not
please.
guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Not guilty.
Two call guilty and 4 call not guilty, such is the outcome of the summation examination. Oh, take the loss, dude. My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors were persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Von Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. God, I just want to see him put in his place. He's such a jerk. Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. Just when I'd managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5. What have you to say, madame? If possible. Inspector. Me, ma'am? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown? Ah, right, yes, this one you mean, of Mr. Benedict. Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him. What? No. Good gracious. Order. Juror number 5, how on earth? I'm a communications officer, stop. As we can clearly see. The gentleman in the photograph is stop. Also communications officer, stop. He works in my office, stop. Very talented operator, in fact, stop. He should be in the communication station now, stop. Tapping away on the telegraph, stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong. The gentleman is at London's communication station. We should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Von Zieks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. As your lordship bids.
What's his real name?
I don't know. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. I can't imagine that that's it. And he's the guy.
Well, he could be leaking information to spies through the telegraph.
True. Trial part 3. Whew! It's been a big day at the trial. Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly toward her frequent cold shoulders now. Ginny, are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? Ah, you mean this, the photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you gotta have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Eh? Reno's cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-to-1 to Windibank's place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not, the Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windibank for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windibank's? I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all of that was going to kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp at the counter a bit of wick. And that's when... What do you think you're doing? I nearly died, I did. Next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving in the air like I don't know what. You're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you, a story? I beg your pardon. The Hound or the something or another. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see it's here, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. And it was there all right. The manuscript. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny? Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry. I better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. Sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out to the storeroom with myself when... That's 2 bangs. I heard a couple of shots go off. 2, I think, almost at the same time. And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Because she thought whoever had shot Mr. Windibank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windibank was a goner. I felt funny in me head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must be when you passed out, Gina.
He passed out.
If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me. You'll be alright, Ginny, don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runa's about to put the real culprit through the mill. That cove, what was there in the afternoon? That Eggert Benedict? I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Ginny. Mr. Nara Odo. Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGill we told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter out with him, even though he was a killer. No, I can never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time, but the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get out another killer off the hook for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in the trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. As racist as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who had done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried, but even then, somewhere inside me I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar, you're not like McGill. I know that. That's right, you're our friend, Ginny. Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes, that's really all we need to know. Exactly. Mr. Nara-Odo, Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, the final battle. Wish me luck, Cisato-san, and I hope you're watching over me too, partner. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. I'm getting tired too. Yeah. Well, this is a good stopping point. So let us save. Yeah, well, still a bit to go. I'm having the hardest time seeing how the heck all these threads are going to be put together over the course of this part of the trial, but I guess we'll see shortly. Thank you for watching.